The Gemara 2 dots and says Vav Amud Beis. The Gemara says like this: the Mishnah had told us that you were using for schach the aruchas hamita, which meant basically it's not anything specific about the bedpost, but that was a way of saying that you're using for schach things that belong to the bed, meaning it's a kehillah. The same thing if you use this table for schach. So you're using aruchas hamita. So we're trying to bring a raya, and it was no good. That was called pasla schach. So we're trying to bring a raya that there's a mandiyamar that's Rav Ami bar Tivimi, who holds that once you have a kehillah that got destroyed, that thing is still considered a kehillah and does not and you don't have a right to use it in any instance when you're not allowed to have a kehillah, whether it's negeh tumah, that the thing will become tameh, right? If you have, let's say, tumas mace or anything like that, or even though it's already not a kehillah, and you can't use it as schach. So it must be that our mission is a riot to him, right? Because you see, you can't use these bedposts as your schach, right? So we'll bring a riot to that. So says the Gemara, Lema Mesayele l'Rav Ami bar Tivimi. The Amar Rav Ami bar Tivimi, Soichach bebaloi kelim. You have kelim which already got used out. I don't think we use out kelim. We usually just get sick of them and trade them in for the new one, right? You know, everyone has their old phones. They're perfect. Everyone's got the, car.
Perfect is a newer one.
I'm saying they're, your grandfather had the same watch for 35, 40 years. And when it broke, he brought it into the guy. Today, don't pay to fix it. It's just not worth it.
A guy called me today saying his sukkah, the schach molded. He put bamboo in and got moldy. So one company was replacing it, but his company said they're not replacing it. So he said they would bleach all day. So I thought it was just throwing the garbage.
Right. No, but saying the idea, you're right. In other words, the reason is why, because you go to China and you get it for $2, whatever. You could get it for so cheap. But I'll tell you, it brings a mindset that if you notice, kids stop closing doors because the cars now, as the vans go, the things. So you don't even think. They just you give somebody a ride in an old car and they'll just walk off. Right? No. So the throwaway society. So then it happens to your marriage too.
Why is it a throwaway society? It's different. The reason is that it's a throwaway society because 200 years ago,
but it could be
what did you do when you had a kid and he needed a bed? You chopped down a tree and you spent
even after
2 weeks
that
of work into it and you put together a bed.
Welcome back. Even after that,
if it took you 2 weeks and
so you had a chashivas for it, I hear.
More than a chashivas. If it took you 2 weeks to make and a month's salary to pay for it, you would say, no, you're not throwing it out.
I'm asking.
$50. You can go buy yourself a
No,
bed.
but you're saying you don't have a chashivas for it. But the problem becomes is that we don't have a chashivas for anything. We don't have a chashivas for anything. Yeah,
Go talk to Lipas. People come in there with a car. It's a $20,000 car.
Huh?
Yeah.
The levels have gotten
right. You could buy it for much.
No, we're used to getting rid when something. There's a real thing that happened. I got a call. I got a call from somebody tells me I should daven for his wife because they're amputating part of her foot tomorrow. So I said, what's going on? She has this reoccurring infection and she can't get rid of it. So I said, did you go for a second opinion? So he goes, no, actually she requested from the doctor to amputate it. Huh? This is a true story. This happened. Because she's just had enough with this problem. She doesn't
grow back.
She's had enough of this already. Genug shame. So she'll amputate it. She'll get a whatever, fake thing.
Mamish the whole leg? Or just
No, the bottom piece, and she'll get
The bottom piece.
Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? It's
It must be very
and what about somebody who's in a marriage and it was very, let's say, very, very painful, very painful, and whatever, and no, they could give you like a little plastic piece to make up for it, just on the bottom, right? Right? And then the point is our attitude in life is is just, it doesn't work, so get rid of it. Why? Because everything's like that.
But why don't you compare something? Compare apples and apples. You have a
Tell me-
brand new Sienna, right? And something's wrong with it. You don't say
Go back to the
"You're
company,
done."
my friend.
There's no warranty, okay? You ran the miles, there's no warranty. You pay a couple $100 or $2,000, whatever it's gonna cost. The transmission goes, right? It's gonna cost you $2,000. You pay the $2,000. If you buy a $500 car,
No, we're not talking about
let's say
that.
you go to a junkyard and get a transmission, it'll cost less.
White
Like,
rice.
why
No, but I'm
bother?
talking about a mindset that becomes because
That's
of
the
it.
mindset. 200 years ago, you're like, I don't care. I have this. This is a car. I can
Certain
fix
items
it.
where
I'm
you
gonna
look to
fix
be-
it.
like
Today, we don't even think about fixing it. Why?
No,
Why
but I'm talking about
bother?
even somebody could afford it, and somebody what's it called? They
have
would
Walmart.
go.
The guy who's worth
Now they
$100
have
million doesn't just throw away a car because he just
Right.
needs a new transmission.
But you're still with cars. What about small things? People throw away marriages. There's somebody
It's much easier. It's much easier to
just
trade in
bored.
America. It's easier to
They
just
think the
bored.
grass is always greener on the
because
other side.
right no because we're not used to understanding that there's something here. This happened. A guy, somebody who did get divorced. So his mother called me up and tells me, I know you're friendly with him. But if you really want to help him, tell him he needs serious help. He says, how do I know?
Said that about his son?
Yes, she tells me about his son. I also almost fell off my chair.
She went through the same thing.
She said, I was married to his father. This is what she tells me, this mom. She said, I was married to his father. And I, a few weeks after I got married, I don't know if she says a few weeks, a few months, she decided that's it. She's out of there. She can't handle it. So she went home, and her father answered the door and called her by her married name, Mrs. Let's say whatever, Mrs. Klein. What are you doing here? She says, I can't. And starts telling her all the problems. She says, you married him. Go work it out. And closed the door. She said she felt so abandoned, like she didn't know what to do with herself. Like, go work it out. She got married. Anyway, she said, but now I have grandchildren and a happy house and a happy thing. But it took a lot of work. But the attitude was, like, you got married, you would think. Today the attitude is, you got... Yeah, run. With kids, don't worry, you can do something. You could sell them or something. Anyway, the kids, I think that comes from this attitude, from the throwaway, don't pay to fix it, right? I'm not saying you should fix it or not, but it comes from that mindset. Oh, fine. The kids are so they used to use baloi kalim.
My generation had one shirt.
Huh?
They had one shirt,
Right.
one pair of pants.
Right. Still have one shirt, one pair of
Remember
pants.
the inside out shirt? Walmart told you, yeah.
So you could do baloi kalim. So you have this puzzle. Keda Amar Rav Chanan, Amar Rabbi Baruchas v'shtei karayim. It's not a raya to this Mandi Amar that holds. It's not a raya to this Mandi Amar that holds that you can't use baloi kalim. That baloi kalim are still makabel tumah. No, baloi kalim are not makabel tumah. However, since this is still usable, because this is the bedpost with the two legs, which is still usable, so therefore it's not, you can't put it on top of the sukkah. But if you have a kehillah which is broken and now it's not usable, you could put it on top of the sukkah. The ktsara v'shtei karayim, either the end, which is the shorter end, with two legs and a bar in the middle, or the longer way with two legs and a bar in the middle. Hachinami baruchas v'shtei karayim ubektsara v'shtei karayim. It's only something that's still usable now. But if you have a kehillah that's not usable now, it's not makabel tumah. Hey chiyitma, where is this? You told me that there's this Rav Tavimi. Where does he say this? The Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amar Rabbi Haditran Mita Mitama Chavilos. A bed could become tamei in parts. That means you have a piece of a bed, it becomes tamei. So that would sound like that even though the thing is not a full kehillah, it's mitama. Umitaharas chavilos. That means if you have to put it into the mikvah, you could put in a piece of the bed and you're going to be mitaret. Divrei Rabbi Elazar. That's according to Rabbi Elazar. Chachamim say no. Mitamas avarim. Mita could be mitam not in one piece. Chavilas is dafka in one piece, and the Chacham say no. Even even if it's broken up, it could be metama evarim and mitara evarim. If you have to put a mita into a mikvah to be mitarid, you could take it apart piece by piece and stick in each piece one at a time. Ma'ininu. So what's it talking about? Any mita you could take apart. That means even though it's not a usable mita because you broke it up, still it's mitar and mitama. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. Barucha v'shtei karayim. No, it's talking about this case where you have it usable. You have two legs and a bar in the middle. The shorter end, but two legs and a bar in the middle. Right? That's the case that we're talking about. Lamai chazi. So the Gemara now wants to know, what is it usable for? You're telling me it's usable. How's it usable? Lemismechinu agardo. You could lean it on the wall, and once you lean it on the wall, you could use it as an actual bed, because you have the two legs and a bar, and you put the box spring against the wall, and now you have yourself a usable couch, a usable bed. Ulamesiv aleo. Now you could sit on it. Umidisha ashal. You could tie ropes to it in a way that now it's usable. So basically, the halacha that comes out, halacha l'maisa, obviously we're throwing all the stuff out, right? Because we don't pay to fix it. But still, if you have something that technically is usable, you have your what? The what?
Today's days, nobody's actually doing that.
No, but
right. So we're gonna discuss that soon.
I thought if the kehillah is fixed, though, it now can transcend tumah again. If it's fixed.
Yeah. Well, if it was broken beyond repair, so it could be now it's a new kehillah once you fix it, right? This is the eights that they do. Some people want to be makbid on those disposable pans. They don't want to use them because they feel that since people reuse them, so they're not considered a chad pami. So therefore, all they want to say the chad pami also needs tefillah. So what they do is they destroy it, they flatten them out, and they remake them. So then, since it was at this point destroyed, so now it's not a kli. And I'm a Jew, I made it. A Jew doesn't, and if a Yid makes it, only tefillah if a guy makes it. So since I'm a Yid and I made it, so again, if I take a piece,
Kugel comes out looking funny.
Right, okay, a little hamantash and kugel, that's fine.
So what's the difference between snipping the wire of the grilled cheese maker and resoldering
Because
it together?
snipping the wire is not the kehillah itself. If you would take apart the kli,
Oh, yes.
What if you unscrew the unscrew? You take apart the cleat and you put it back together.
no, it's yada's kehillah. It's considered the yad of the kehillah.
What if not just snipping the wire? You take
So
off.
you don't tow it. You know how they do it.
Right.
Wait, so why can I take up
That
on my...
guy buys it for
$1. He comes
$1.
into
Back
the
$1.
right.
And then they buy it back.
Right.
No, but if
You might as well just sell your business and your chametz all at the same time.
the kehillah if kehillah is broke, it's no longer able to transmit tumah, correct?
Right. If it already became tamei, we're not talking about. If right now it's tahar and it's broken, you can't become tamei. It could be if it already was tamei, it won't lose its
What's the
tamei.
time? The time over here is because even though it's broken, it's still usable, so it's still...
So it's still a kli. Sagam, it's not anymore the kli that you intended. It's not a bed,
But it's a kli.
but it's a kli. And then, nevertheless, it's a kli. So the kli has a din that it could be metame and metar.
Wait, so we're back to the thing. So if we dismantle the grilled cheese maker,
Yes, then you put it back together. That
So
would be
the
fine.
metal crate, you take off the two screws or something, or not just.
But I would say it's easier to just stick it in the mikvah. But that's besides the point.
No, I'm saying
Let's say on vacation
right,
in
you're in New Hampshire. Or
Yes,
something.
that would be an eitzah. Very good. If
That's
you're in-
eitzah.
That's eitzah.
Buy a
Take it
grill.
apart.
Take it apart. How would you take it apart? How?
No, but taking it apart isn't the way they have it taken apart. If it's disassembled and you reassemble it, that's not going to take it apart. Because are you allowed to make those floating wicks on Shabbos or Yontif? Right? I don't know if you light oil. So you have
something that's useful
right.
now.
So you have it comes in a pack, right? And you have those little round things. So the simple understanding is you can't make them. So I do before we use floating wicks. So I make a bunch of floating wicks before Shabbos, before Yontif. Comes with Shlomo Zalman, and he wants to say you could do it. Why? Because he says it's not pshat. What's the reason you can't? Because you have a little wick there.
You have a wick there.
That's not a kli.
Right.
That's nothing. So some want to say it is a kli because if you take a little schnapps cup, you can stick it in and lean it on the side, and it's already usable.
It'll stay lit for.
No, if it's in a
Yeah, but
small,
if it's floating,
small,
you can't, what's it called?
right, and you have a small,
Oh, you put it quarter.
right, it will work.
They did it in the old days. They had a a little lamp, they put a long wick in.
Right, and if you have a small round thing, right, a small round thing, you stick your wick in. So that's what some people want to say, but that's pretty schwach, because that's not really using the shtamshus of the zach. It's like, to be considered that that's usable, you have to get a little teeny, oil thing that lasts for about 5 minutes. Obviously that wouldn't be. But Rav Shlomo Zalman says a different svara. Rav Shlomo Zalman says a svara like this. He says, since Be'etzim this thing is finished, the factory made it, they made this thing, supposed to have a hole in it. But we won't get into that. Let's go, it has a hole now, okay? Let's go, it has a hole.
They do it for packaging.
Right, and they only do it for packaging. So Be'etzim it's a finished thing. They just, packaging reasons, it's easier for them to sell it like this. So that's considered a nigmar dekakli, and you're gonna, and therefore he says you could stick it in, you could stick it into the thing on Shabbos or Yom Tov. So if you take something that comes disassembled, and the reason it's disassembled is just easier to package.
No.
So
not talking
you have
about
to start the other way.
Like, for example,
by
like a
snipping
grill,
the-
then the grates aren't. You have to table that then.
Right, because it doesn't help.
If you buy a grill in a box in Home Depot,
That doesn't help.
you can buy it either way.
the grates
You
right
buy
out.
either already made.
I know, but that just they make it for you nicely. But since
it's
this could
assembled,
be,
disassembled.
this is just disassembled. But if you,
The food goes on the grill, food goes
But
on
if
the
you
grate.
break something.
The grate has to be type
By snipping the wire, by doing something, not
so
a...
if you take a piece of metal and
not part of the
you make it into a grate,
If you buy a grill,
It's not the kehillah.
That's the out of the
Right,
kehillah.
it's just all just.
So once you figure out a concept that you do something that you
No, it's
literally
good
break it.
shipping.
if they don't have a problem with shipping, they make it together.
you could buy it, order it from Amazon anywhere, and you could pay for assembly, and they'll have someone to do it. It's a separate thing.
I understand because they can make money, they'll do whatever you want. You would pay someone to wear your suit for you. I'm saying anything you can make money,
But
right? Right.
it will cost them more money to.
I know, but they're doing it out. They're doing it out because of packaging reasons.
Also, the product will cost more.
I think Walmart. I think Home Depot puts it together for you.
Home Depot puts
I think it's because of
Yeah.
shipping. They can't...
No, you could do
No,
both.
they have them
I went
lined
to
up
buy a grill.
outside, all the
They
grill.
had
If
already
you
made
buy
it.
one,
Perfect.
if
I
you
just
buy
wanted to
one,
buy
you
it.
go
That's what
buy-
I had.
But it will definitely cost them more.
I understand, but that doesn't make that it's to go the cooler. But
I actually even asked, I'm
Take
pretty
us
sure
4
I even
weeks.
asked
I'm
them
like, no,
because
it's
I
not
wanted it because
available
it
in
wasn't
4
gonna fit in my car. They took it apart there. Asked if you had one in the box. No. They had lined them all up outside. They lock them up.
right. All right. So so it has to be that you take it apart. So this is what everyone does with the curing machines, because the curing machines you're gonna stick it in a mikveh, it'll be room. So Grada. So what? There is a guy for just a small fee. He takes it apart for you. For real, he takes it apart for you. And puts it back together.
And the
And
extra
this way,
screws that he finds when he's putting
No.
it back together, like you just show under the table.
no, with the whole kli. Once you have the table, something, the whole kli.
what's the difference?
So now he made it. He's a Jew, so he put it back together.
So what's the difference between taking apart a grilled cheese maker and
I'm
putting
saying
it
if
back
you
thing,
take
same
it
thing.
apart,
It
we
doesn't
say-
Same idea.
Take it
Yeah.
apart enough.
I'm
But
saying
with
there's
the grill,
a guy. No, but over here, that you
saying
can
something
serve.
that comes in a box and you're supposed to put
Right.
together.
It comes
But
assembled.
something that
It comes
that's
ready to
supposed
use.
come in
Right.
one
Ready to use out of the
ready to
box.
use.
Right.
And if we
So-
disassemble
and
it
the phenomenon,
ourselves,
that would
So the
work.
grill, if you disassemble it, the same thing.
Right, that
no,
will
but
work.
a grill's
I didn't tell them like
are
yours.
not assembled. Usually
Huh?
it's up. It's
Oh,
not like
so-
something like...
What about a bike?
So-
Comes unassembled.
So let's discuss whether you
Tires don't
could
have to
with the two Lamaisa Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky and Libad L'chaim Rabbi Valsky both came out with like little small chuvas saying that Vibalt the it can't be taivel because if you taivel it'll get ruined, and whatever a few other svaras. The whole mechanism is basically plastic. There's just a drop of metal in it, and that's not even being used that much. It's a bunch of different svaras why you don't have to. So therefore, if you didn't do it, you've done worse things. Okay, there's nothing. I'm saying you have yesh al milismai. Yesh. How do you know how it works? Well, sorry. This is closed.
What Ross said earlier, that they buy the factory. Why can't they just have a run specifically for them?
They don't. They come in. It's a joke. It's
Why
basically
can't
a
you say,
joke.
if you say that I have a run specifically for you, then why?
Because then I have to pay for the run no matter what happens. No one's willing to do it. He comes and gives them $1.
Right. What do you mean? But you're saying I want 1,000 pieces of this product.
If that was the case, then it's possible if I paid for it before, but that's not what happens. If they do that, I can hear. But that's not what they do.
Isn't
They
that
go.
machine a Jewish machine? The compressor? It's not a Jewish thing. Don't tell them guys.
No, but it's made by Goyim.
How's the cure?
It's like everything. It's made in China by a guy.
they pressure them.
I'll tell you what.
Anyway, the kids are so getting back to our Gemara.
Magic Chef is a Jewish
A Jewish chef.
Magic
They
Chef
don't
is
sell
a
it
Jewish
at
But
Walmart.
he doesn't make it. He has a bunch of goyim. He could be a Jewish.
Yeah, but it says Magic Chef, so this rum was made.
It's all made for Jews.
I don't. Yeah.
How many goyim buy a thing with the Shabbos mode on there? You press by mistake.
It doesn't make a difference if the goyim make it and then sell it to the Jew. Depends how it's done. It depends how the mechanics are done.
Jews though.
That doesn't help. Of course, everything's made for Jews. It says the Gemara in Avodah Zarah says that when Mashiach comes, all the goyim are going to come and they're going to say that everything I did it for Klal Yisrael. So the Mepharsh, yes, what do you mean they're going to lie like that? Terry says they did. They didn't know they were doing it for us, but they did it for us. Okay.
Just pay the most.
Now, so basically we're coming out that has to be usable, and this is usable thing. So if you have a kli that's broken and it's still usable, which is very common, something breaks but it's not anymore usable for its original purpose, now it's usable for something else, that's considered that's usable. Gufa Amarav Ami Bar Tavimi Seichach bebaloi kelim. This is the Mishnah we quoted before. Now it's quoting the Mishnah in Tol. Seichach bebaloi kelim pasul. That if you use kelim that are already ruined, it's pasul. My baloi kelim. What is baloi kelim? What's this case? Amar Abaya matlonis she'ein bahan shalosh al shalosh. If you have a piece of clothing that already is so worn out that it doesn't have shalosh etzba'is. By shalosh etzba'is, it's a very teeny piece. So how's that considered clothing? So this is where we're going to come to if things should change. But if you read his grandfather's war story, so he had at one point his pair of pants. What did he do? He found a bunch of little pieces all over and sewed them together. And that was his pair of pants. So there was such a mussar that they used it. Ani, it says the Mishnah says an ani would use something that's shalosh etzba'is, shalosh etzba'is.
And he went into a graveyard, and like the graves, the standing up ones. He took the guy's clothing.
Right, I'm saying, but
no, they have like the open whatever it's called.
But that was at one point. But at one point, he says that he couldn't. He made it out of rough pieces that he couldn't anymore. He's like he contemplated just like killing himself from it. It was so painful. But Al Kapanim, the point is that there was such a musik that it was usable. It was shalshet bas as well. So the loy chazi loy la'aniyim v'loy la'ashirim. Ashirim use something that's gimel tfachim al gimel tfachim. Now the question is if today it works differently. Nobody uses used out clothing, right? Right. No, I'm saying even though they have all these drop-offs.
Yeah, what do they do with all these clothes from all these drop-offs?
They don't want it.
Goes in the garbage. Now, where does it go?
They sell for rent.
Unless it's perfect.
They wash it and sell for rent.
Right. No, they ship it to third world countries. And they
What does he do with it?
And they chew it out.
Oh, so this reminds me, my uncle.
Like these places, like the
My
places
uncle
they
had a
have,
partner one
only
time
brand
who
new
was
clothes.
in
All
Eretz
the
Yisrael
clothes
when there was
only
a
brand
drought. He grew up and one time and there was no water, and he went to a restaurant and he saw like people just leaving like half a cups of water. He was like going crazy. So I started walking around drinking them. Like he couldn't. How do you leave a half a cup of water? Right. So the question is if today it should change because
Going to restaurants, like homeless people go to restaurants, they just eat all the food. Nasty, yeah. You go to like the city.
That's not nasty. People come the garbage cans.
You know much
allow them in, but like
It's unbelievable. Today, someone see the garbage can. So much, just an abundance of food.
I was ready to go to I'll buy
well, now we can start. Shaiki. Fine. The question is if things should change today that we don't have baloi kelim anymore, that we don't use baloi kelim.
Would it refer to leftovers in a restaurant?
Everything. This is a good shaila. Somebody once asked me, shaila, if you have leftovers, right? And nobody's going to eat it. Are you okay to put it back in the refrigerator? You have leftovers, you're cholent on Shabbos.
Yeah. How many times did you change your mind that you didn't want something that you...
No, if you're going to change your mind, I'm asking. There's nobody eating.
Your clean guy doesn't want to take it either.
Nobody's
Like,
eating.
make a big sense all wedding.
It's done. Nobody's interested in it.
I don't
You
go
can't
to
take it
Chumah.
home.
Impossible. So if you
You know
have
how
one of
many
these,
thousands of food gets
so
thrown out
most,
every night
right,
by
so
the
most
organizations that-
the organization.
Thousands. It goes straight in the garbage.
It's a waste.
Not only that, the health of
Right, no, but the shiur is right, that
and he brings them to.
is working.
he drops them off.
He's 95 years old. He's running to the clock. Erev Shabbos. My father-in-law has to scream
For what?
at
For
him.
what? To pick up stuff?
He picks up all the leftover challahs and everything.
What does he do with it?
He brings it to all the poor families and that. He drives around himself with his grand
don't
grand
throw
marquee and he
anything.
beeps the horn in front of the house and the
Really?
kids run out.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
every Friday.
Really? The wedding goes on to
Yeah, he's been
anything.
doing it for who knows how many years.
They
My
use it the
father-in-law
next
has to
night.
scream at him.
No,
The next-
the health department
Give
won't
it
let- once it
away.
leaves the kitchen.
There's 50 organizations, so you don't think
Yeah.
this is still 100%.
Weddings
Weddings are clockwork, where people come and take it. They don't throw anything, unless people eat it. No, unless they eat food.
No, so
Good
anything
food
that's
is
in the
just,
kitchen.
you know, there's 10 organizations lined up every home.
That
Yeah.
stuff that's in the kitchen. Anything that goes out to the tables,
You gotta go to the garbage.
Yeah, that goes with that.
that goes in the garbage.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But do you know how much food that is? You go, but the guy puts down the thing by the wedding, and one person takes one piece of broccoli, and then the rest isn't touched, nothing's touched. That's what you're saying. You're saying the amount of food that gets thrown out.
Oh, you're saying that? Yeah.
Oh, but Lamaisa, I have something in my house. I finished eating. I'm not going to eat it. I'm mechuyev to put it into the refrigerator. If a guy knows for sure, if there's a tzad, he'll eat it. That's something else. If he knows for sure that he's not mechuyev to put it in because it's not.
It wasn't good the first
So in
time.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
Well, let me tell you, it's hard.
everyone freezes their leftover cholent and they bring they bring it to the shul gabe. Her name is Burke, and she puts it in the shul freezer. And every Sunday they have bingo. She makes a soup. She takes chicken consomme with leftover cholent and she boils it up. And the goyim go. She sells it for $7 a cup. The goyim can't get enough.
sells it?
They don't know what. Yeah.
What a Jew. Definitely Jewish.
So you're giving it away for free. She sells it.
Stu, they sell
There was
it
a
at.
guy here, Simchas Torah. He came with Shanik.
Yeah, who was that guy?
Yeah.
He works within the pen business.
Right.
He didn't know what shalom was. He had no clue. I gave him some. I said, just taste it. I said, you're Jewish. You didn't know. He mamish did
Really?
not know what shalom was at all. He lives in Alpin now. He used to
Right.
live in Ventnor. He used to work in the casinos.
The fact that the lady sold it for $7, that
he
means she's
had no
Jewish.
clue
That's
what
right.
shalom is.
But kids, so that's a show. There's a
And he had-
change
he said,
today.
wow, this is good. What am I missing out on?
V'lo lashir. That's unbelievable, that house, because it's 100% not kosher to wear it like
He was
that.
all proud. I'm part of this congregation. I was part of the congregation. Whatever.
No,
down in Ventnor,
because the whole Yisrael is a ksus has to be a ksus on your guf. So
Even if it was a
therefore,
full-size
the
house, you
reason
would
why
like that,
Moshe
you don't
says
need
not to have an atara, because he says because you're giving too much cheshivas to the part that's on your head, because and really the more chashuv part is the part that's on your
Not Torah
guf.
should be on the bottom.
Right.
Who says this? Yeah, no, the Bamiches don't do it. The Bamiches don't do it for another reason. It's because it becomes a whole fancy thing. So you don't see when people
they don't even
in the
have
casino, they come with a big.
even a cloth.
Yeah, they don't have anything. It's plain for the people that can't afford it. The people that can't. Yes, the Bamish does it, but the people that can't afford it, it's one neutral thing. It becomes a whole. Oh, how many rows does he have? 7
Right.
rows. Wow, who's a shiur? You know, it becomes a whole
If it's
fashion
different
show.
for a poor person and a rich person, then of course it changes. Because if then it was different for a poor
A
person.
poor person, no. It's just saying this kehillah
Check it,
is
how many
not
rows of
good
silver
for
do you have?
not the shiurim. No one would use
Not the
it.
spinners.
So therefore, it's not.
I can't even count.
What we said before, that for Ani is three.
I just spoke out that for usher is that, but the Gemara just says that that's not shalosh it's boys. So
It's not a different share.
it is a different. But when we're trying to say that it's not anymore kehillah, it has to be not even for aniyim.
I know, but if it's a different share, it would.
But the share is not. Negaya this for your sukkah doesn't say separate share.
It's possible to have a different share.
I didn't say what you're saying. If the Gemara says that there's a share for ani and asher, vice the chayis, there's differences in the different people, so it's a change. I'm telling you that when it's negate a personal thing, so then there's a difference. So over there, it should go with what the person believes he's going to use or not. But when the Gemara is saying a share for everybody, it's saying it has to be shalosh etzbos, shalosh etzbos. V'lo lashim. Tani Kavah said the Rav Ami Bar Tavimi Machzelas shel shifa v'shel gumi. These are different. You make a mat out of different stalks that grow, different places. So sharia. Afal pi shenifchasu mikashiran. Even though it already got smaller from its share, means I made a mat, let's say that was 10 by 10, and now it's only 5 by 5. Ein mesachen, but you can't use it as schach. Machzelas konim gedoyle mesachen ba. However, if you have a big mat, right, then you could use it for schach. So Rashi says, mesachen ba delov kliu, the stomach l'schach. In other words, if you have this small mat, right, they have like these Chinese mats or whatever, you have a small mat, don't use that for schach. Because that's made as a kli. It's made for somebody to sit on. Right? No, small mat you buy in the store. That's made as somebody to lay on. It's a mat for somebody to lay on. However, if you have a big, massive mat, that you could use for sukkah because that's something that obviously was made for schach. Because you don't make such a big mat. You don't make a big mat that's so big. So now what we're trying to bring around is because even if this mat is already broken in half, still we say it can't be used. So Hagam, it's already broken kelim, it's baloi kelim, afal pikein, it can't be used. So you see a raya that baloi kelim still have a din like a kelim. This is neged to Shabbos also. What happens if, let's say, a button is a button muktzah on Shabbos? So a button is obviously muktzah on Shabbos because it's a piece that's not usable for Shabbos. In the time of the Gemara, they used to use it.
It's usable, but not
they used to use it as a cover for a kehillah. They didn't get bottles with screw-on caps, so they had a piece of a button. Maybe it was big enough to put on a kehillah, so that would be a kehillah. But if it's not, so today that we don't use it, so it becomes muktzah. So what happens if this button was on my suit on Shabbos and it fell off? Do I have to leave it? I'm walking. There's an Erev, but I'm walking. I don't want to lose my button to my suit. So since it was a chelik of a kli, and I'm putting it back, it doesn't become muktzah. Since bein hashmashos it was a chelik of a kli, if this button fell
the
off,
button is still hanging, or
How come a bun falls off and one treats it like it's a bum?
because they're making a mistake. Right, they're making a mistake.
So a button is not. I can pick it up.
You could pick it up and make a whole scene out of it. This way, someone should come over to you.
And you can say Rabbi Greenfeld.
Right.
Chestnut.
Listen, you hear the
Rabbi Greenfeld might have to move to Israel for a few years and then come back, and then
if this thing fell off erev Shabbos,
Then it's gonna be
so then it's muktzah because it's not a kli, it's a piece. But since bein hashmashos it was part of your kli. And I'm planning to put it back. If it's your shirt button,
you always put it back.
No shirt button, you're not going to put it back. You take
Throw
a
out
new
the
button.
throw out the shirt.
Throw out the shirt. Throw out the shirt. That's right. Right. If it's a button that you're going to put back, if it's a button that they all have the same button, and you're just going to take a different one, then it's not going to get. This is by something you're going to put back. So it's still blibing a chelik of a kli, and since bein hashmashos was a chelik of a kli, it blibes a chelik of a kli.
But what? But Friday morning it was the chelik of a kliyos. So what does it matter?
I know because it goes bein hashmashos decides on all dinim muktzah for Shabbos. So over here too, this machzelas once it broke in half, we're saying it's still a chelik of a kli, and therefore it's part of a schach, and there's being a riot to Rav Tavimi that you can't. However, if you have this big thing, obviously it's made for schach. Machzelas of konim gedolim mesachem ba. Kitana ein mesachem ba. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rav Af Hu mekabel stoma ve'ein mesachem ba. Fine. In other words, he argues and he holds even something very big is considered a kli and it's mekabel toma. We know the halacha is basically if it's made as a kli, so you have to find out the metzias. If it's made as a kli, you can't use it for schach. If it's not made as a kli, you could. Let's go back. Let's go to the end of the Mishnah. The end of the Mishnah said a case of hachoted begadish. You have a silo. You have a pile of hay, and you decide, I have a ready-made sukkah, I'm going to dig out underneath, and now I'm going to crawl in, and that will be my sukkah. So, how could I have a sukkah if it's in a gut?
Making an underground sukkah?
I have a big, on top of the ground, I have a silo. I have a hay pile. I'm going to dig in, and now I have a sukkah.
So that basically you're just surrounded by completely.
That's right, I'm hay on all sides. I have walls of hay, and a roof of hay. So that's my sukkah. There's my
They used
sukkah
to
right
do it
there.
in the war. They jump in.
Right, they used to hide in the hay piles. The hay piles. That's where they hide.
I'm
They
not sure if it
hid.
was in the book, but he had he went to sleep. He fell asleep in one, and he had a dream in the middle of his night. His mother was
run,
screaming,
run,
run,
yes, it was
fire,
in the book.
fire. He got up. He looked outside. You see the Germans were setting them all on fire.
Right, and he ran away. Yeah. So what's the problem with it? The problem is it's tasav v'lo min ha'asr, right? You can't make a sukkah that the schach is there before the walls. So since I dug it out, the schach is there before the walls. So hachayt begadish amar Rav Huna lo shanu elo she'ein sham chalal tefach. If there's no chalal tefach b'meshach shivayim, aval yesh bechalal tefach b'meshach shivayim. Have b'meshach shiva harezu sukkah. What's the word? If you have a gadish that inside the way you put it, the way you stacked it, there was still like a little thin tefach by tefach, which is going down, right? Inside, I didn't stack it well, so inside it's a little bit hollow. Now I'm just going to bang it out more, so then I'm just being moisef to a sukkah. Since there's an oil, there's a space of a tefach, and there's the width of Zion al Zion, which we said, so let's say 4 feet or whatever, in the middle of the silo. So now, once I'm just making it bigger, so that's not considered that it's tasav and also because it was already be'etzem oil over here. You couldn't really use it because it was inside. You had no access to it. But now it's considered that it's not tasav and also because the schach was already considered schach. Even though I couldn't get in there, and now I'm making that I could get in there, but the schach was already considered schach. If there was no such thing, then it wouldn't be good. So we have a case that the case of chaytet begadish should be good if there was already this hole with the chalal tefach. But we're going to be a raya. Here, Tani nami hach. We bring a raya to this. Hachaytet begadish las loy sukkah harei zeh sukkah. We have a brayse that says clearly that you dug into a gadish and you made a sukkah. It is a good sukkah. But v'anan tnan eino sukkah, and we already learned it's not a sukkah. Elav shma mina, kidrav huna shma mina. So you have a raya that if you had a halal tefach, right? Whenever there's a halal tefach, that's considered oil. So you have a halal tefach and a little space in between, that's considered oil, that's good. Ikada amri la, and others want to say it, that they learned it as a stira, and then they answer this as a kash. I mean, there are two brises. One says achayt begadish, tnan achayt begadish las lo sukkah einay sukkah, v'ha tnan harei zeh sukkah. So you have a stira. Amrav huna lo kasha kam b'shiyei sham chalal tefach b'meshach shiva kam she'ein chalal tefach b'meshach shiva. So however you learn it, bottom line is, if you just have a good solid packed silo, and you chaytet begadish and make a sukkah in there, no good, because it's tasav lemon also. However, if you have like a little space over there, and now you dig in, that's already good. So now we're starting a new Mishnah. The new Mishnah says like this: Hameshalshol defanos milamayla lamata. You make walls, but they don't go all the way to the ground. Im gavayim in haaretz shloisha tvachim. If the wall is missing from the ground 3 tvachim, pasul. That means you have a wall, it goes down, it could start from wherever you want, it goes down, but there's a space on the bottom of your wall. 3 tvachim, it's no good. Milamata lamayla, you have a wall.
Space is
How much is
floor to there or side
Floor to
to side?
there.
I thought someone said that rolling sukkah might be not kosher.
What was the rolling sukkah? Oh, that
Someone
underneath?
posted a video of the sukkah.
He showed me that it goes under the guy's.
Because it's not that it might maybe they were saying it's over 3 tvachim that it was
What about the bicycle
above not
sukkahs
touching
and
the
stuff?
floor.
Yeah, but
No,
it's
it
not
got on the
rolls
floor.
It's on a closet roller.
Oh.
It's a wheels.
Yeah.
It's on a track. It's a train.
Yeah, how do
train.
you have a sukkah on a porch?
It's a sukkah.
So how do you
it's a
have
train
something,
sukkah.
how do you have something that's not touching the ground?
No, I saw it this year. I was. Somebody showed me a sukkah in Tom's River where he just basically he had a it was like a patio and there was like a whole frame. So what he did is he pulled off half the roof, mom and shower case, and there were just beams, and he was going to put a mat on top of it. Now the walls were open things, right? So he just lined the walls with like a canvas, but it didn't come to the ground.
But that could flying over, though, isn't that?
So he was gonna.
It's like taking.
He was gonna.
make
There
that.
are several
putting
problems.
up things.
His walls are not.
Right, so he was gonna make it. He was gonna put it like nail it into the wall or whatever. He was gonna make it tight. But I told him the problem is that it's off the ground more than 3 tvachim.
How much is 3 talcum?
That's high from the table to here.
It's a 3 tvachim. Let's say 11.8 inches. Not very much. Yeah.
But really, it's not because the patio or whatever. Really, the corner pieces are touching the ground. You can't say that counts.
If you have to have that they're close enough that I'm saying you have to start getting into lamnish walls. And economic, but I'll tell you why maybe that's not good, because we're going to see that what's the problem over here. The problem is that if it's low enough that a gedi could come in, if a little goat could take a walk straight into your sukkah, so that's not considered a wall. So Shaila is, what's the vart? Is it a vart? It's not a din mechitza, or is it just b'metzias? Because a goat could come in, right? So even if you have
the goats are going to come in today's days.
oh, it's a skunk. I don't know. Something else.
You didn't have any goats in your sukkah this year?
I had a cat in my sukkah this year. First of all, there's in my backyard. My peacock is by him. In my backyard, there was a cat hanging out for a while and had 4 babies a while ago. So they live there. So just yesterday, there's this little cat, running around, and Miri Batat, his daughter, comes. Can I have them? I said, please. But she couldn't get them. She was chasing
He's like a
them.
boy. It's amazing.
Can I have them?
You see her holding the chicken, holding this, holding that. Like, this is turkey.
Yo, Chestnut.
Down 7th Street Cemetery for the last.
Oh yeah.
It's from Mark Kills.
And so I said to my family, I said, it would be a goat.
So what is that?
So he's like, Ken Zayn.
Well, they saw someone went to the Chazanish's cave and there was a chicken sitting right on top of the cave. They asked Reb Chaim Kanievsky about it or something.
But it's
And he said, don't take it off, it's a go-go?
I heard from this is very scary. I heard this from Reb Simcha B, and I heard it from a few other people from a different one of the Bronx. Said there was this dog that used to come to Rav Victor Miller share. Every time he used to come and think. And Rav Victor Miller told him that a guy lived in the neighborhood and he didn't bother coming to share. So now he's coming back as a Gilgal.
Not true. That story cannot be true because I heard in one of the tapes someone asked her nowhere about Gilgulim.
Yeah.
And he strongly holds Gilgulim is not, he said the Talmud never talks about it. What he does with the Gra and everyone else who says Gilgulim.
And the Zohar and wherever you
I'm
go.
telling you, I heard in the tape, Rabbi Miller said he denied that Gilgulim, he says you get one
I heard
check
this from Rabbi Cohen, not from Rabbi Miller, but I heard from Rabbi Cohen. He told me it could be. I can't.
It's a son-in-law, yeah.
It's-
I think grew up with him.
I heard it on a tape.
From who?
A tape.
I think he made a one-time exception.
No, you heard on the tape of Rabbi
Maybe that was before the dog story. Maybe that was pre-dog story.
pre-dog.
Afterwards, he believes in the thing.
Yeah, no, Rabbi Miller said, I heard him say on the tape.
Yeah,
Rabbi
but
Miller
son
said, I
Chabi
gotta
doesn't
find
make
the
up a
tape now.
stone.
Yeah, now you gotta find the thing.
He's gonna be busy
Gotta
all
do
night. He's gonna be busy all night.
a search.
That was on the chat.
Yeah, listening to 1900 Shiurim.
He knows.
was a fake.
Jacobowitz listens to all his tapes. He might know where it is. If it, he
In
has
the archives.
Yeah, in the archives.
I always had the time to buy that iPad, that they have.
Yeah.
$1,900, $1,800 with everything on there.
Yeah, but
Guy's still making money in it.
yeah. No, you were able to. It's not true. He didn't. He did
I
it
know,
for free.
but who's
It was
making money?
after it was after they started? They and I know people that downloaded it from Coalition right before that, and then there was a whole
There was a whole fight with
There's a whole
Coalition
fight.
to fight it off.
right,
Who gets the money now?
right.
Who gets the money now?
There's a fund.
It's not
Coalition
about the
did it for
money.
free.
It's
The estate, the
Bragg held that you don't have a right to put the shiurim on them. Rabbi Miller gave them to me as Yerusha. I called Rabbi Simcha ben Cohen about this because I wanted to take the ones off Kol
Yeah.
He said it's not true. He said Rabbi Miller. He said it is true. Rabbi Miller gave Rabbi Bragg the Yerusha of the tapes because the money goes to the yeshiva. He's not making. He's not pocketing the money. He's putting it towards the yeshiva.
So the Moon himself used to do it. They used to transfer over the tapes to CDs and stuff like that.
Right, because so basically the din of the Mishnah is, we'll stop after this. The din of the Mishnah is, do you say that when it doesn't hit the ground, do you say a vart of good asik, like the meschitza, good achas mechitza, that it goes down to the ground and as if it went down, Or do you say, no, only when it goes up, good asik, you say that the mechitza goes up, but down it has to hit the ground. That's a machlokes. Now, so that would be neged to your thing. If it's a verb just that no animals could come in, so even if you have the corners, you still wouldn't go, because the Maisa, an animal could come in. Or if, let's say, it's in a place, the Gemara, they talk about it in, let's say, in water, where animals can't come in, do you say the same din or not? So I guess we'll get back to what
What about making a sukkah on a boat then? Because technically the boat, do you say the boat's the ground? Or
wherever it's on, is the ground. Yeah, the boat's the ground.
Wait, while the recorder's still on, can we clarify something? The recordings, who's getting the money from it? Yeah, no, I mean we don't want to have to fight afterwards.